Welcome to another episode of the Influential Experts Podcast. I'm your host, Robert Hicks, and today we'll be speaking with personal injury attorney Henry Queener, discussing the potential obstacles and navigating the aftermath of a car accident. Henry Queener is a dedicated car wreck lawyer whose personable nature shines through in his dedication to his clients. He's renowned for his expertise in handling auto accident lawsuits with a focus on securing maximum money damages for his clients. Queener has recovered millions of dollars in compensation, representing individuals injured in various vehicle accidents. Henry, thanks so much for agreeing to come on the show.
Absolutely, and welcome to our office here in downtown Nashville.
Yeah, it's a nice office. I've been there before, and it's a really great office. So what do you say? Let's dive in. You ready?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. So could you shine some light on some common tactics used by insurance adjusters to kind of coax individuals into settling with quick checks and the potential pitfalls of such agreements?
Well, in Tennessee, they will tell you anything and everything they can to get you to take that quick check. Just remember this, that they know nothing. They have none of your medical records. They have none of your medical bills. They haven't spoken to your doctors. And knowing nothing, they're extending you money. That means that's just the absolute bare minimum they're willing to pay anybody just to go away. But the most insidious thing, the thing you got to really look out for, is that they'll tell you, oh, we'll pay the medical bills, or this is on top of the medical bills. That is not true. You are responsible for your own medical bills. So they will often say, oh, this is on top of medical bills or in addition to medical bills. That is not a true statement. You are responsible for your own medical bills. You take that money from the insurance company, that quick check, and then, 12, 13 months later, all of a sudden you're getting collection notices for your medical bills. And the auto insurance company you got the check from is not returning your phone calls anymore. You're stuck and I can't help anymore.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I know a lot of times they record those phone calls, and they'll use those recordings against you. I mean, do you not have any leverage as a personal injury attorney to like say, hey, look, you said that you would cover their medical bills in addition to this quick check?
No, not usually. I mean, if you're representing yourself at your own peril, as we
Mhm.
say. And so if you don't know all the law as well as the insurance company adjuster does, you might find you fell in a trap you didn't know existed.
Why are they so motivated to kind of get you to accept that quick cash?
Because what they're offering you represents less than the cost of just handling the claim, having it open and collecting paperwork and information. And so they're always real quick and happy to pay you some minimal amount of money from their point of view. They think it's minimal because it's less than having the claim open and gathering paperwork. And so better to pay you less than the cost of having the claim open than to have the claim open.
Yeah. Is legal representation necessary for handling property damage claims resulting from car wrecks where there are no injuries? And how can individuals navigate this process effectively?
Well, property damage doesn't usually require an attorney, and I don't know of an attorney who would handle just a property damage claim because the system is pretty cut and dry. And I mean, what you can do is you can go to any number of websites and type in the particulars of your car, see what the car's value is on those websites, and if it matches basically what the insurance company is offering, well, there you go. That's what you're going to get for that car. And it is often very unfair because you may have put brand new tires on the car, a brand new sound system in the car, just got the windows tinted on the car, put a new starter, alternator, and other things on the car. Doesn't matter. You just type in what the car is in a website, and when it tells you what the value is, that's the value of the car, and that's what the insurance company is required to offer you if the car is a total loss. And so there's really not much you or an attorney can really do if what they're offering matches what common websites are saying the value of the car is. And then, sometimes it's even worse than that. You end up owing money on the car because the value of the car is less than what you still owe on the car. Um,
Yeah.
that you need to have a complete case where you have property damage, medical records, medical bills, and you hire an attorney. And if you have a complete case with an attorney representing you for all aspects of the case, then you have a better chance of getting that car paid off and getting some money in your pocket. and not owe medical bills later on.
I know whenever you go to buy a new vehicle, they always sit you with a finance director, and they always try to sell you on gap insurance. I guess that's why you get gap insurance, because a lot of people are upside down in their car, which means they have negative equity in their car, which means they owe more than what it's worth. And if you have the gap insurance, it's going to protect you in the case that you do get in an accident where your car's totaled and you owe more on it than it's worth, right?
That's right. That's how Gap can help you. I would point out that look, you can't. You're not just going to call up the Gap and say, "Send me a check." The Gap is going to want to get a lot of documentation out of you because they're very careful about not getting defrauded. And
Hmm.
so they're going to want the police report. They're going to want to know where the car ended up after the wreck. So don't get mad at the Gap. Get what the Gap wants so the Gap
Hmm.
can get to the point they'll cut you the check. But there are some steps in there and some hoops you're going to have to jump through with Gap.
And is that something that you would do as a personal injury attorney to kind of help facilitate that for your clients?
We usually, in the process, gather the documentation you need and we give it to the client. And the client turns over and gives it to the Gap. And there you go. That takes care of
Hmm.
it usually.
Yeah, yeah. You did say something earlier that kind of brought something to mind. You said that a lot of times the insurance company will say, "Hey, we'll call, get this check, take this check, we're going to cover your medical bills too," and they usually don't. But I've also heard that it's common that if you get an attorney can get you a check to kind of cover your property damage. So if you have a wrecked car, they can get you a check now, and then they can also get you a check after you've settled, to help you cover for your medical expenses and pain and suffering. Is there any truth to that?
Well, generally, the property damage will settle fairly quickly. Like I said, if what is being offered by the insurance company, the auto insurance company,
Hmm.
is what you're seeing on websites as the value of the car, there you go. You have that check up front. Um,
Okay.
I generally encourage my clients to take that check and go get you another car because you got to get to work.
Hmm.
Then I'll get to work gathering your medical records, medical bills, and taking care of the rest of the case, which hopefully will be enough money to get you right side up financially again and get some money in your pocket.
Yeah, but I think where people have to be careful about, is that when they're on the phone with you and they're trying to get you to accept that check, that's not just for your property damages and your medical expenses. They're trying to get you to take one lump settlement for everything, right? And I think people can get tricked for that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. That that if you don't have an attorney, they're trying to get you to take that one check for everything. If you do have an attorney, they know better than to try that tactic
Hmm.
because they have to get the attorney's permission, my permission to talk to you to and then they're only given that permission to talk to you about the property damage only. So you have that protection of they're not going to attempt that. But if you don't have an attorney, yes, they will attempt to give you one check for everything. And that's even better because then they can close all the files, property damage, and the what we call BI or bodily injury part of the claim, all in one check.
Yeah. And I could see how that could be tricky for the average person because, they're using lingo or types of language that you don't really understand, that you're not really familiar with. I don't understand a lot of legalese. I call it legalese.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I could see how someone could think, oh, well, I'm just getting this for my car, and then find out later that no, like that was for everything. And then they have all these, medical expenses and pain and suffering that result from their accident. And they're out of luck. They signed an agreement, or just verbally signed an agreement, because that counts too, right? They can say something over the phone and that counts as like a binding contract. Is that right?
It can.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and again, I'll get people who will wake up after they've said on the phone to the adjuster, "Yeah, I'll take that." And then they wake up and they call me and, like, "I think I screwed up."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you screwed up too, but we'll see if we can go down to the judge and unwind it.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the judge you get, some judges will say, "No, you did your own dealing. You're held to the standard of a lawyer. You should have knew what you're dealing with." And other judges will be a little more lenient with you and go, "Well, I guess a little bit late is better than never. You did hire a lawyer. We'll unwind that transaction and let you start over."
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with an insurance company without an attorney, you're held to the standard of an attorney. And it's going to be expected. You know what they're talking about when they say liability and bodily injury and PD, and when they talk about these legal terms that you may think because you Googled them. Well, they might mean one thing in California and something else in Kentucky.
Yeah. That kind of brings me to my next question, because I know that you practice law in both Tennessee and Kentucky. What advice do you have for individuals who reside in a different state where their accident occurred? For instance, I live right on the Tennessee line, and it's very common for people to come from Tennessee and come work in Kentucky, or to come shop in Kentucky because there's lower sales tax. And then what happens if they get hit if they get in an accident? What advice do you have for individuals in those sort of circumstances?
Well, we represent lots of people who come to beautiful Lake Cumberland to boat. We represent lots of people who come to downtown Nashville to go up and down Broadway, who get in car wrecks. And these people are from all across the country, and we represent them because we are in Kentucky and we are in Nashville. And so you
Mhm.
want to hire an attorney who is where the wreck took place, because the law of the wreck is going to be the law where the wreck took place. And so that's how we at Queener Law end up in both Tennessee and Kentucky, two beautiful states that get lots of tourists. People come from all over the country, and we represent those people who then go back home to Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, or points south in Mississippi or Alabama. And they're in a wreck here. They hire us because we are here. You want to hire an attorney who is where the wreck took place, because that's the law that matters as far as the wreck is concerned.
Yeah. And as an attorney, can you represent them? Like, do they need to physically come to Kentucky or Tennessee, or can you represent them from Alabama or Texas or New York, wherever they're from?
Exactly. I mean, the days are long over where you have to actually go to Perry Mason's office and sit down across the desk and to hire the attorney. No, we're a fully modern law office in both locations. We send all the paperwork on your smartphone while we talk to you over the phone, and you use your finger to sign your smartphone, and that's how you sign the paperwork necessary for us to represent you. The agreement, the HIPAA authorization for us to request and review your medical records, other documentation we need to submit to insurance companies. So everything happens over your phone in the comfort of where you are in life, on the lunch break out in the car or sitting at home on the sofa. You don't have to come to the lawyer's office anymore. That's olden times.
Yeah. So explain to us a little bit about the timeline that it takes to settle car wrecks. How long does that usually take?
Well, all over the map, I say the garden variety case is one where you have a wreck that's clear. Someone ran a red light, so it's clear. You have an ambulance trip to an emergency room, a physician to follow up with a doctor. Maybe the doctor sends you for 2 or 3 weeks of PT, physical therapy, and then you follow up with the doctor again. So you complete medical care 45 days, 2 months after the wreck. You immediately hire us. And you don't have any ongoing medical problems. You're not going to need future medical care. You're back to as good as you were before the car wreck. Then we can turn that case around in 90 to 120 days with most mainstream national carriers. If you get some sort of smaller little carrier that doesn't do a lot of car wreck adjustment, it can take longer on their end. But that's just a garden variety case. What makes cases take longer is when people are hurt and they take longer to get back to 100%. They need a surgery, and then maybe a second surgery. They need longer periods in physical therapy. So the most of the time, getting your money out of a car wreck revolves around how long it takes you to get better.
And what happens if you get into a situation where you never get better, where it's a permanent disability? I mean, you're never going to get to 100%. So like you have to come to some sort of settlement before sometime. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit for us?
Absolutely. So what we look for, what the doctors look for, and what we look for is what's called MMI, or maximum medical improvement. You're at a stable medical condition. It doesn't mean it's a wonderful medical condition. It can be a terrible one, but it
Mm-hmm.
just is life for you now going forward. And so we communicate with your treating physicians, usually in writing, so that they respond to us in writing, letting us know, do you have a permanent impairment rating under the American Medical Association guidelines to permanent impairment? Do you have permanent physical restrictions, things you can't do anymore? Are you going to need an ongoing course of care over the rest of your lifetime, including maybe physical therapy or medications? And how much do those cost? We write to your doctors and we get the answers to those questions to then present that to the insurance company so that the insurance company realizes we're not just handling a claim involving what has happened in the past, we're handling a claim with a past component and with a future component. Where people get confused is you can't just say, I'm going to hurt forever. And that may be true. You know that's true. You got to have a doctor to put it in writing so that we can turn around and give it to the insurance company in writing from the doctor that you're going to have that problem going forward in order for the insurance company to adjust it, to think about it, to make dollar offers for it.
Yeah. You said something a little bit earlier about how you're a modern kind of law firm, and now you can just you sign legal agreements with your finger on your iPhone. Um, you know, communication has changed a lot in the last 10, 15 years. How has the process of signing up with a lawyer or scheduling consultations evolved? Is it as seamless and effective as traditional methods?
It's better than traditional methods. Like I said, in olden times, you had to get in the car and you had to drive to the lawyer's office. And while there's lots of people who love to come downtown for the tourism, they might not like coming to downtown Nashville for the traffic. And
Mhm.
likewise, in our Kentucky office, people may not want to drive all the way from Jefferson County to us in Somerset, but they can still hire us and get the great benefit of us because everything happens electronically. We email you documents, you pull the documents up on your phone, you sign the documents on your phone. You communicate with us over the phone. When we have other documents, we email them to you. And it works both ways. In this day and age, if you get something in the mail, you just lay it out on the kitchen table, take a picture of it on the phone, and email it to us. And so, that's the wonderful thing about this day and age, and it's so much better than the traditional methods, is that we can obviously communicate back and forth, exchanging even documents with modern phones.
Yeah, and it's so much faster, and you can do video conferences just like this too, right?
Oh, absolutely. We have a dedicated Zoom chat room that we use to meet with clients all the time. We even do mediations where the client doesn't come all to one central location. The client's at home on a Zoom like this, on a video conference, and then we're at the mediator's office on the video conference. And sometimes we use it when we're going to meet with other lawyers on the video conferencing. So yeah, video conferencing all the time. We have, like I said, a dedicated account with Zoom where we're always there to look at you face to face over the video conference on Zoom and talk about your case.
Yeah. What are some legal hurdles that car wreck victims typically encounter during the claims process?
Not knowing the law. I mean, if
Hmm.
you represent yourself, it's going to be, it's expected that you're going to know as much as a lawyer does. And that's where you start getting yourself in trouble. And where that gets worse is that you'll make a deal with the auto insurance company. And after you've made that deal with them, later on, you'll find out you owe medical providers or sometimes health insurance money out of what you just got from the auto insurance. So you don't immediately know how bad you've messed it up. You only find out, you know, 15, 13 months later, you find out, what do you mean I owe money to a radiologist I never met who read scans at the emergency department? I thought the auto insurance paid for that. No, they sure didn't. And you were expected to know better because you represented yourself. So
Hmm.
the worst part is that you don't know you messed up until the cake is baked and it didn't turn out the way you liked. And there's no way to unbake a cake.
Yeah. Let's say that someone attempted to, you know, resolve this issue on their own. And they got, they're getting a dispute from their insurance company, or they're getting a denial following a car accident. How do you assist clients navigating these sort of disputes or denials following a car accident, particularly when insurers may attempt to minimize or deny valid claims?
Well, first, I take it off your plate for you. You give the headache of the insurance company to me, and then you go to work and go about your daily life. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That becomes my and my staff's worry, your claim, and dealing with an insurance company who's wrongfully denying your claim. And then I do all the work of getting that flipped around, getting the insurance company to realize it's not a claim they need to be denying, it's a claim they need to be accepting. I take care of getting all the documentation necessary that the insurance company is going to want in order to adjust the claim. I mean, who in the world knows what medical itemized charges with CPT coding are?
Mm-hmm.
We know where to go get those type of documents with the type of coding that the auto insurance company is looking for to get the claim accepted and get the claim paid. And so if you've been denied, if you're struggling through it, that's okay. You didn't accept any money. You come to us and let us take it off your plate so you can get back to doing whatever brings you money in this world on a daily basis, your job.
Yeah, we're almost ready to wrap up, but I want to leave you with one last question. What is the best legal advice you could give all drivers before a car accident ensues? Something that they, first thing that they should think of when they're in a car accident.
I feel like a broken record with it, but pictures, man. Take once the wreck takes place, jump out and take pictures, 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 because that really, in this day, in modern day and age, has undercut insurance companies' ability to deny claims.
Mm-hmm.
When I started practicing law, the person who ran the red light would tell their insurance company, "Oh, it was yellow. I didn't run it red." But if you're there at the scene with your phone, you can take some pictures to show where the cars ended up to make it clear that's not quite right. Or who changed lanes? Oh, they changed on top of me. I didn't change on top of them. You can get pictures of where the the uh, the cone of debris, as we say, where the two cars came together. How it was that debris is clearly in your lane. The wreck took place in your lane. What contact occurred? This wasn't a side swipe. This was a rear ender. It used to be a lot of cases became just he said, he says, where the at fault driver, it's like, oh, I didn't rear end him. He came over on top of me. He sideswiped me. This day and age, pictures. You just take some pictures of your car, the other guy's car, where the damage is, where the debris is in the road, where the cars ended up, and the argument, the basis for denying the claim is over. So please take lots of pictures. That's my primary advice to everybody after a car wreck.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Henry. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today's episode of Influential Experts and sharing your insights on what to do after you've been in a car accident.
Thank you.
For our listeners, we hope you found this discussion informative and insightful. If you did, please let us know by liking, commenting, and sharing this episode with others. And if you live in Kentucky or Tennessee and have been injured in a car accident and you need representation, visit queenerlaw.com. From their website, you can schedule your free consultation with Henry or one of his team members, and they can meet with you to kind of help you facilitate the next steps in recovering the most amount of damages possible for your car wreck claim. That's it for today's episode. Thanks again. Have a great day.